Perpetually hazmat spills. Nutty coincidence. Dan Snyder took over a Washington football team that had a 30-year season ticket waiting list. 24 years, Washington was a train wreck. The NFL kicks him out. The next year, they're in the NFC Championship. I bet that's just a nutty coincidence, too. New England was awful before Robert Kraft got there. 5 straight years of losing seasons. In fact, in that half decade, they had the worst record in the league. Robert Kraft buys them. The next year, they're 10-6. What are the chances? Pre-Belichick, with Belichick, post-Belichick, Super Bowls. I've worked for over 35 years in radio and TV. I have had 7 corporate owners. There is an inarguable, undeniable, I'll die on this hill, direct correlation between the quality of the owner and the quality of the management and decisions that are made with people. Robert Kraft, 11 Super Bowls since he bought the team. That's more than the rest of the AFC East, the AFC North, and the AFC South combined. Joe Burrow, last several years, has been the best quarterback in the league, statistically. He can't make the playoffs. You know why, and I know why. It's not the right tackle or their lack of depth at inside Mike linebacker. It's the cheap ownership. I mean, go look at baseball. The Yankees have as much annual revenue as the Dodgers. Dodgers have better owner. Dodgers have better owners. Excellence in every company I've always worked at, every corporation, starts at the top, and it is continually reinforced every day, top down. Doesn't start at the bottom. I mean, look at New York. George Steinbrenner owned the Yankees for 37 years, won 7 World Series titles. It wasn't managers. He had 23 different managers if you count hiring Billy Martin multiple times. He had multiple GMs. He had multiple players on the rosters. The only common through line was George Steinbrenner. 37 years, 7 World Series titles. Multiple managers, multiple stars, multiple infielders, multiple pitchers, multiple relievers, multiple GMs, multiple scouts. One common denominator, George. Since he's passed away, 15 years, kids took it over, bagel. No World Series title.
All right. So Colin is irritated because there is insufficient indignation regarding Robert Kraft not being inducted into the Hall of Fame as there existed with Bill Belichick, and he believes it is due to financial jealousy, or something along those lines, which he somewhat expressed. I believe I am actually rather well suited to deliberate on this because many of you, what you individuals do not genuinely comprehend is that I am actually enormously wealthy. I am not at all. I wish. That would be rather impressive. No. I sense like I am situated to converse about this because I am one of the few individuals out here that genuinely underscores and promotes the significance of coaching so extensively, correct? That has been such a prevalent motif with so many of the viewpoints that I have possessed, is merely emphasizing coaching, 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 coaching. And through that procedure, I recognize so many individuals do not esteem or regard or value coaching as extensively as I do, and acknowledge the authentic tier of significance to it. And it caused me to reflect and contemplate, like, why is that? What is the narrative? I have conversed with other individuals, and it is simply captivating. And I believe a substantial portion of it is associated with encountering athletics at an elevated tier and actually possessing authentic, genuine coaches. Authentic, actual professional coaches. The vast majority of individuals who have participated even athletics in general. Presently, I am incorporating from the professionals to the individuals who merely participated recreational or, intramural leagues or whatever. The vast majority of individuals have never even possessed a coach that was actually a full-time professional coach. The vast majority of individuals would have merely been someone's guardian or something, or, an educator. I do not understand whatever it was. And so that alone now maintains your encounter rather restricted. Not to mention individuals experiencing what it resembles to possess a proprietor or someone who supervises something. Although the vast majority of individuals I have to envision that are observing a video like this have possessed a supervisor, and they have possessed a supervisor with perhaps also a proprietor, or the proprietor was the supervisor contingent on, whatever variety of occupation you are performing, whether you are, painting residences or, laboring in an office, whatever it may be. But Colin is apparently aggravated because individuals were more aggravated and more vocal regarding Bill Belichick not being inducted than Robert Kraft. And the actuality is that the masses are not perceiving matters through the perspective of a proprietor of what it resembles to be a proprietor. And it is not jealousy. It is not that they do not concern as extensively because they are like, what? It is because they are simply not perceiving it through that. They are scarcely even perceiving it through the perspective of a coach. I recollect when I was maturing, and it was brought to my awareness that coaching could even be a possibility, a path to pursue in existence. And I was like conversing with someone concerning it, not a professional. It is challenging to elucidate, but we will merely state like an educator. And I was like, what? I am not going to be a coach. A coach, it was insulting. It was humiliating. It was like a coach. I am not going to be a coach. I am a participant. I am a performer. I am not a coach. I do not desire to be a coach. It was like a revolting notion. It was like, I am not going to be a coach. A coach. A coach. And presently I am like, oh man, I wish I would. That would have been impressive. If I was not accomplishing this, I would be like, I would adore to be a coach. Are you kidding me? That sounds astonishing. A coach. That would be phenomenal. You get to coach. And I reflect, I am like, I would be an exceptional coach. The manner I could connect with individuals, some of the concepts and reflections that I possess, and, my own participating encounter, and I could be the coach that I believe that I would have been capable of being, that I would have elicited the finest in me. All the addresses that I could deliver, the existence lessons, I am like, oh yeah, I would adore it. And yet before I am like disgusted, I am like a coach. I do not desire to be a coach. I desire to participate. I desire to be on the field. I desire to perform. I desire to be a coach. And presently a substantial amount of occasions, I observe contests. And I am like, I do not be like, oh, I wish I could be Josh Allen. I am like, no, man. I desire to be the individual conversing with Josh Allen. I desire to be the individual conversing with Mahomes. I desire to be the individual conversing with Burrow or whoever. A.J. Brown is encountering a complication. It is like, permit me converse with you. Permit me proceed through this. Jalen, let us have a discussion. That is where my intellect proceeds presently. I am not like, oh yes, I would adore to drop back, proceed through my progressions. I am like, do not misinterpret me. I adore that as well. But it is like not where my intellect is anymore as extensively. And so you are presently inquiring individuals, and again, I believe as you age, as you possess, encounter participating, and you acknowledge the import and comprehend the significance of coaching. I merely believe that individuals are going to be less linked to proprietors, and an individual like me still recognizes the significance of proprietors, but simultaneously, I am out here when I am discussing the Seattle Seahawks and discussing their transformation, or what the Kansas City Chiefs have been capable of constructing, etc. I am not out here being like merely proprietorship. I reference proprietorship. I frequently will state proprietorship, administration, general manager, etc., whoever is formulating the determinations, because it is you do not perpetually comprehend. You possess a general manager, evidently, who a substantial number of individuals, particularly if it is your team, comprehends and knows, but you do not ever entirely comprehend how extensively proprietorship is influencing any single determination. It is perpetually complicated in that respect. I entered an entire discussion concerning it with the Atlanta Falcons, where I stated, they are a more effectively managed team than the Browns. And a couple individuals were like, but that is insane. You misplaced me when you declared that. And I am like, no, the Falcons are distinctly a more effectively managed team. I am not declaring everything they have accomplished has succeeded, but proprietorship with Cleveland and the manner how that is managed is a chaos. And I do not discover the Falcons, the proprietorship there provided the administration, provided the coaching, provided them. they declared, "You formulate the determinations." Like he provided them the liberty. He provided them the finances, the position to accomplish it. It did not succeed. But he was like, listen, you accomplish what you, hey, we compensated Kirk Cousins $150 million, and you desire to bench him? Proceed ahead. He did not mandate that they adopt a different orientation. So that is favorable proprietorship in that respect. And then when he perceived that it was not succeeding, he is like, okay, I am terminating you all. I provided you your opportunity, and presently you are finished. Observe you. That is rather favorable proprietorship. It does not signify that favorable proprietorship perpetually signifies you are perpetually going to be prosperous year after year after year. And so those matters are significant to contemplate. And a substantial number of these teams that are consistently inferior year after year after year possess inferior proprietorship. And the teams that are favorable year after year after year possess favorable proprietorship, or they executed a couple favorable determinations, and the remainder assumed control. Nick Wright even discussed that with the Chiefs, where he is like, I do not comprehend if the proprietorship is actually favorable. He is like, yes, they acquired Andy Reid, and they acquired Patrick Mahomes. He is like, but I do not comprehend that it is accurate that once that celebration concludes, if they are going to be capable of accomplishing it again. And it is like, yes, that completely is logical. That completely is logical. And so the objective of this video is not to honestly attempt to persuade everyone how significant proprietorship is. Because Colin is like, I will perish on this hill. And it is like, I will perish on the coaching hill, And perhaps when I am 75 years aged and I am enormously affluent and I merely possess $500 billion in the bank, then I could be like, everyone, proprietorship is genuinely significant. You do not comprehend just how significant proprietorship is. I will inform you individuals when I attain that tier. I will withdraw the curtains a little, but I merely believe a discussion like this is intriguing. Because yes, Robert Kraft, I possessed powerful viewpoints. I should not even declare powerful viewpoints, but I possessed an intrigue. I will inform you this. When Bill Belichick did not get inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was intrigued. It was, I was like, that is intriguing. When Kraft did not get inducted, I was merely like, I already all the protest was also exhausted with Bill Belichick, and I am merely like, whatever, and I suppose it merely does not resonate for me as extensively, even though I completely well comprehend how significant proprietorship is merely in any facet of existence. If I perpetually discussed how I used to be a therapist at a men's inpatient rehabilitation institution, if there existed superior administration and superior proprietorship, there exists a favorable likelihood that I would still be laboring there, or at minimum, still pursuing that trajectory. But instead, proprietorship was dreadful, administration was dreadful, consequently, I could not endure. It was brutal. And Colin has discussed that as well, of locate favorable supervisors, and it is accurate, and I am confident numerous individuals have been capable of experiencing that. Again, like I declared, regardless of what you are accomplishing, whether you are generating $10 an hour or you are generating $10,000 an hour, you can most likely possess some variety of encounter with that. Therefore, for me, it is not to diminish the effect that Robert Kraft has possessed. It is merely the discussion itself is only so significant to me in terms of the Hall of Fame. Possessing a more meta-deliberation about all this variety of material is intriguing to me, but attempting to ascertain should Kraft be inducted into the Hall of Fame or not, it signifies very little to me. And it was peculiar because Colin is declaring this is absurd that he did not get inducted. And yet with Bill Belichick, he defended it, and he discussed how that the NFL, that because of the Spygate and whatnot, that the NFL was not content about that it tarnished the NFL, that it was like a substantial cloud over them. That is what he discussed. He declares, you do not interfere with the Super Bowl, and this placed a substantial cloud on it. Kraft has functions in all of that. He possesses functions in some of these controversies as well. And again, I am not declaring any of that should be considered or not. But it is also, if we are going to possess that perspective regarding Bill Belichick, you would have to possess the identical perspective regarding Robert Kraft. And presently, other individuals are declaring, oh man, presently Tom Brady is not going to be the F his first ballot because of all this disorder. I do not believe anybody would dare not vote for Tom Brady presently as a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the entire matter is peculiar, honestly, and the entire discussions that have ensued, and the actuality is at the conclusion of the day, I only concern so extensively. I genuinely do. This is another variety of segment. Like I am informing you at this moment, I am going to bypass it for first things first. I am fairly confident I bypassed it with Bill Belichick for first things first. It is like I accomplished the Colin Cowherd clip, and like presently I believe I accomplished, and I am like presently I'm advancing. Particularly if this was all somewhat unfolding more during the season, when I could like effortlessly discuss what the Jacksonville Jaguars are undertaking, what the Eagles are undertaking, what the Raven like. Presently matters are evidently, we are practically already in the off-season presently. So matters are a little bit more confined, and you are somewhat reaching for discussion. So you are merely like, all right, if I do not discuss this, like what else exists to discuss about? But like, yes, it merely does not signify extensively to me. And the individuals who actually possess the authority, the individuals who actually possess the finances, the individuals who actually possess the resources, if it communicates to them, that is why like this communicates to Colin more. Because he possesses more interactions with proprietors, with genuinely influential individuals. Therefore, he possesses considerably more encounter, so it reverberates considerably more with him. He is a proprietor as well, so it communicates considerably more to him. And I comprehend that. I value that. Participants and coaches communicate considerably more to me. I do not operate a $200 million corporation. So like it does not communicate to me, and that does not communicate to the masses. And that is acceptable. I am not going to sense remorseful about it. I am not going to sense unfavorable about it. Therefore, but it does not signify that it is also not worth deliberating. Because merely hearing Colin discuss the significance of proprietorship, I was like, oh yes, proprietorship is significant. I am like, yes, I never conceived of it like that. Therefore, even though it does not necessarily emotionally reverberate with me as extensively as declare certain other subjects, does not signify that it is also not worth deliberating or unpacking. But, this is not a narrative that I am going to be so intensely concentrated into that I am going to be like, I must hear what Stephen A. has to declare. What does Nick going to declare? Well, what is Broussard's opinion? What does Manny have to declare? What does Tom Brady have to declare? I am like, I do not comprehend. Here is the perspective. Whatever. What else do we possess? What else do we possess on the day schedule of sports discourse? It is merely I do not comprehend. Like I am inquisitive what you individuals all conceive regarding discussions like this and narratives like this, and Colin indicating that individuals were more incensed about Bill Belichick and less so about Robert Kraft. And it is merely like I do not comprehend. The final aspect I will declare is, I believe, regardless of what tiers of success you possess, regardless of how affluent, regardless of how renowned, regardless of how talented, regardless of how not talented, but regardless of how I suppose talented your existence is, I am conceived for a superior method to phrase it. Fortunate your existence is, you can still possess compassion and empathy and comprehension, correct? It is like merely because you are affluent and your residence incinerates down does not signify that you still cannot sense unfavorable like, oh, you are unfavorable. Your residence incinerated down. Even though you distinctly possess the finances and the resources to effortlessly conquer that predicament contrasted with an individual who is generating $2,000 a month. And I believe that correct everyone, regardless of what predicament you are in, you can possess the empathy and compassion and comprehension. But simultaneously, it is going to be more challenging for me to sense the tier of compassion and empathy for an individual, for not attaining some variety of accolade or some variety of genuinely subsequent tier accomplishment, when you have already accomplished an insane quantity. It is like declaring, oh, I sense unfavorable. So-and-so merely generated $10 billion. And he misplaced the opportunity to generate another $20 billion. It is like, is not that such a disappointment? And it is merely like, I suppose so. Like I possessed this discussion with my guardian years ago. They displayed Carson Wentz in the Super Bowl, and he like somewhat famously declared to Nick Foles, he was like, subsequent year, it is my opportunity or whatever. And my guardian was like, oh, I sense so unfavorable for him. And I was like, I comprehend it. I accomplish. And I sense unfavorable for him as well. But simultaneously, he signed like $150 million agreement. One of the most at the moment, one of the most costly agreements in the NFL. He participates in the NFL, yes. He has not completely attained what he has desired to attain. He has not completely accomplished what he established out to accomplish, but he still got compensated millions upon millions of dollars to be a quarterback in the NFL. Like, I sense definitely a considerable amount more unfavorable for the individual who is getting compensated $35,000 a year to, be a maintenance laborer in an impoverished institution, in an impoverished school district in Kentucky, who scarcely generates any finances. And presently his supervisor is like, oh, regretful, we must reduce your hours. Like that reverberates and signifies a considerable amount more to me. We do possess this peculiar matter. And again, credit to it was either Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless. I neglect, honestly. And it was regarding Richard Sherman, who was complaining that enthusiasts do not concern sufficiently about, their personal existence, their well-being, whatever it may be. And one of them was merely like, your existence is so much more gifted and so much more fortunate than the masses who observe you, and you are attempting to garner sympathy from the masses. Like, that is insane. And it is accurate. And again, it is not to declare that you cannot possess compassion. It is not to declare that you cannot possess empathy. But it is peculiar. It is. It is. It is peculiar to attempt to acquire an individual like me or you. Like I am informing you at this moment, my guardian's existence, my other guardian's existence, is a million instances more unfavorable than Robert Kraft's. And if I proceed through my day to possess compassion or empathy for what my other guardian has to proceed through, my other guardian at this moment, who is, approaching 80 out there, laboring in adverse climate, accomplishing everything he can merely to generate $10 here, $20 there, $15 there, laboring an insane quantity of hours, awakening early, retiring to sleep late. And it is like, it is not regarding jealousy regarding Robert Kraft. It is not regarding jealousy of individuals who are in superior predicaments, but like I am only going to possess so much energy to possess an uproar regarding Robert Kraft not being inducted into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I am merely not. I signify, I do not comprehend what to inform you. But do not delineate the boundary and declare that it is jealousy or that it is a deficiency of comprehension or a deficiency of compassion or a deficiency of empathy or anything of that. It is merely the human condition. And perhaps if we possessed more of an uproar regarding individuals that were in a considerably more unfavorable predicament. I do not comprehend, man. But those are merely my reflections. I would absolutely adore to hear yours. Hopefully any of that was logical. Inform me of your reflections. I read each and every comment. Therefore, whether you concur with me or dispute with me, either way, let us engage in some discussions. Let us acquire some debates. But ultimately, let us merely derive some enjoyment. And please do contemplate subscribing. We are constructing an amazing community here, and absolutely adore to observe you part of it. I desire to construct something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we are genuinely enthusiastic to be part of. I believe we are well on our path to accomplishing it. Please do not neglect to award this video a thumbs up as it genuinely assists the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so profoundly.